Hello, welcome to Spontaneity. Uh, Three things that I wish that I've learned when I was still in college. Number one, it seems like a minor, yet obvious skill, but I wish that I learned to have set goals for my life. I mean, to have set better goals. Okay, when I was still a student, high school, and when I was at the university. That's what I mean. So I didn't have a lot of meaningful personal goals. And during that time, my goals are mostly related to what other people has set for me. For example, that your teacher gives me an assignment. Uh, I have to prepare for the exam, and my parents uh, ask me to do something or the regular chores that I have to do. So those are my goals at that time are limited to those. Well, thinking about it, there's also my hobbies, but I never set goals for my hobbies. I just do them and enjoy them. Chess, reading, and watching movies or anime. So the point is when I was if I become a student now, technically I'm a student, but I'm now on my master's degree. So if I go back in time towards my high school and college years, I wish I have set better goals for different areas in life. That's it. And when it comes to different areas in life, that's another video. Okay, but here's a few examples that I consider: financial, uh, health and fitness, relationships, and retirement, and uh, and passion, and also helping others or contributing to society. Those are some areas that I have considered wherein I have set goals, but it doesn't mean that my goals in those areas doesn't mean that I'm going to do them now. So they might be quite far into the future. Okay. So the second uh, thing that I wish I learned when I was still a student was, yeah, the skill in using calendar and managing my time. It's really, really important now. All right. I mean, I time is very limited. There's only 365 days a year, and on average, human's lifetime is around, I guess, around 80 now. So it's quite very short. And in the early years, we spend most of our time without control. And now, for example, I'm now 20, 26 years old, so I now have more control of my decisions. I have now I can now set goals that I want for my life with more self-awareness and more awareness about my surroundings as well. Yeah, that's it. It is really important to be able to use the calendar well and manage the daily, the weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yeah, and more longer period than those. And let me show you how I currently plan my week or month. Okay, uh, that's not the right word. Just let me just share this to you. Okay, when it comes to my days, I use time blocking, and when it comes to my week, I identified specific goals for each day of the week. And when it comes to the month, I would just set goals in general. And the same with the year. And I also like to identify some possible goals that I have for the each decade until 80 years old. Hopefully, I can reach that age. So the way that the arrangement when it when it comes to my approach is I identify my long-term goals, and that could be a year goal or 5-year goal or a decade goal. Okay, after that, after identifying my long-term goals, I would identify my what goals I will have for this month, for example, and list them down. But when it comes to month yet, I don't specify what the day I will do them, what week I will do them, unless I have unless there's a specific schedule. And then after setting my monthly goals, then I would set my week goal, 1 week goal only, and identify what goals that I have set, what monthly goals that I've set, what monthly goals that I've set, and which of them can I do this week, and put them in specific days. And after identifying those, then I then identify my daily. May usually it's usually just 1 day goal or 1 to 3 day goal. Beyond that, it's too cramped or it's too structured for me, and I can follow it because I need the flexibility to do what I want in days more than 3 days, or maybe just more than a day. I need to have some other additional goals that that came up that I have to do. And aside from that, there are some fortuitous events or activity that I've thought that I could do in one day, but it's actually quite big that I have to divide it into smaller chunks. So I have to spread it throughout. So again, it's important. I wish that when I was still a student, I wish I learned more on using the calendar and have better time management. And lastly, no, now that I think of a bonus as well. So the third one that I wish that I have learned when I was still in college or high school is wait, I kind of forgot about it. So one is goal setting. Second is time and calendar management. And yeah, the third one is by participating more in classes and taking more risk. And it sounds crazy, but what do I mean by that? Is when you are still a student, there's the consequences are not really that huge. Okay, and you can take risk. For example, one thing that I wish that one skill that I wish to have improved during the time is to do public speaking. And that is like the number one fear of every human. And when I was still a student, I hope that I did participate more in classes and do public speaking and practice some public speaking methods in front of the class. I wish I did that more because I was a very shy student. Sometimes I think I have social anxiety, I bet, and with some, and I also suspect some possible very mild Asperger's. Uh, I guess it's unlike, yeah, it's possible, not but not very probable. So I just say very mild. So I wish I did more public speaking, and I wish I did other activities. So if you are still a student, participate more in class. Identify different skills and study or research on Google how to do them to identify what specific skills you have to. So public speaking means skill, okay? So you have to identify the sub skills to do public speaking and do them, practice them, and do it badly first since you're still a beginner and so there would be some huge consequences. I mean, you are not presenting on a board meeting, you are not making a report on a national conference, or you are not presenting or giving a speech to the media. That's what I mean by lesser risk when it comes to that. So that's all. So here's the bonus. So do I titled this video something like the things that I wish if I was still when I was still a student, but I should also keep in mind that we should always be a student. It's important to have a beginner mindset. So that's all. Spontaneity.